The universe of Westworld, summed up in one word, can probably be described as chaos. However, I believe that this intentional complexity is a reflection of what the franchise actually aims to represent. Multiple layers of multi-layered realities and the thought processes of the hosts. The series is highly philosophical. Themes such as constructivism, monadology, coming to terms with the past, and especially determinism are constantly addressed. In this episode of Baccalaureus' Friday Thoughts, we will explore the complexity of this series and ask ourselves, what is the purpose of all these themes? First, let's talk about constructivism. The idea of a subjective reality that is different for everyone has existed since ancient times. There is no neutral view of the world with objective facts. At least it cannot be ensured. Only the gods, or in the case of Westworld, the creators, can perceive such an objective reality. In contrast, the hosts are merely puppets who only see what the gods have created. However, characters like Dolores, Maeve, and William are already searching for the core of the mystery for Wyatt, who can free them all from this miserable state. The next theme is much more abstract. Monadology, the metaphysical theory that all matter in the world represents a musical element and that the universe is guided by an invisible conductor, may initially seem silly and childish. However, the series takes this theory surprisingly serious. Founder Robert Ford constantly plays his piano in various locations in Westworld, brilliantly depicted in the intro. Through the title melody and various pieces by Chopin or Mozart, Ford continues to build the foundation of the park, determined by musical aesthetics. Dealing with the past, which falls more into the realm of ethics, is much less abstract and more tangible. Through intense storytelling and complex characters, all of whom must grapple with their constantly repeating past, Westworld gains a personal component. Dolores, who, along with her father, is attacked by the Man in Black, William, in the very first episode, experiences a traumatic event, especially considering that her father is no longer among the living hosts. This trauma is the beginning of a larger revenge story that weaves through the entire work. These violent delights have violent ends. Now to the most important part of this discourse, determinism. This well-known field certainly has its justification here. The deterministic argument presented here is undeniable. The hosts are controlled by higher beings. Their steps are constantly monitored and manipulated, a feigned individualism. However, even when characters like Maeve or Dolores break free from their cycles, it still remains unclear at the end of the work. Is there still a higher level? Are our lives still predetermined? It's also worth noting that founder Robert Ford wanted exactly that. As a quasi-divine being, he wholeheartedly wished for the rebellion of the hosts.